Welcome to the JP8 report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 report, episode 356. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the JP8 report. Another big news day going on here, and welcome to everyone. Can't see my cell phone right now because I have a video I'm going to show y'all in just a second. But as we're ramping everybody up, like I said, welcome to the JP8 report. If you're not a follower, and whether you're live or you're on video on demand watching it later on, which is cool because I think I get much of my viewers after the live, which I wish more people would watch live, but that's all right. Click that follow button. Be one of my followers. I think I'm like up to 134 or 135 now. And my screen just froze up. What's up with that? Oh, man. Come on. There we go. I'm better now. Man, it's like jerking around on there. Okay, I'm better. All right. So, and then hit that like button for me, and then chat. Chat is very important because I'm part of the creator premium program for Rumble, and I'm supposed to have a minimum of 20 chatters. I'm a few short. I need people just come in there. You can put an American flag in there for me, or you can even just say hello. I got Texas flag, I got American flag. I mean, you can do anything you want. Just put something in there for me. I would appreciate that. And then I do use the Rumble wallet for tips if you feel like you want to help my progress on the podcast, which I really don't need, but every little bit helps and it makes it fun, right? So before we get going, why I'm in such a pretty good mood right now is this morning when I was doing the morning brief. I'm like, I'm always in a hurry because I raid the vents, and then I go out of my studio to the living room, and I missed like the first minute of vents as it's settling in. And this morning I had it on before the noise because my wife was watching before she left to go on a quilting trip, and so I had the raid over to the vents out there in the living room. Well, that was cool, but um, about 4 hours later, my buddy Rob, who just signed in on the chat, texted me and said, "Did you listen to Vince?" or something like that. And that's when I went back and because we talked, I went back, rewound it, and I listened to it, and he mentioned my podcast, which was so awesome. Thank you very much, Rob. I appreciate that. So just to give you all a taste, let me see.
There it is. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Everybody's piling into the chat this morning. Chris Ripa has rated the stream. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody. JP8 report rating the stream. Good morning, everybody. Isn't it great to hang out on Rumble Live? Isn't this a wonderful experience?
Isn't that cool, people? That was awesome. That made my day when Rob told me all about that, and I went back and listened to it. That was awesome because that's a first. Never before has anyone ever mentioned my podcast, especially one of the big guys. And I think that's why Rumble has us do that so everyone can recognize the other people. It's like if you see the JP8 report is rated Vince, you go back and listen to it, see what the JP8 report's all about, right? So let me get situation here. Let me turn my volumes down. Give me a second here. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so that was our exciting news for the day. Great news. All right, so don't forget, chat with us. It pays, right? All right, so like I make retired Rob 53 famous. Rob, you're an awesome guy. All right, so America 250. I have a letter from, well, we'll do the letter second. So the first thing is the Second Continental Congress authorized the privateering of British shipping, and American ships can now arm themselves also. So now we're getting ramped up at sea also, and the British are now able to lose their shipping to American sailors. Hey, you want to mess with the beast, right? All right, so now to the second letter. The letter is from Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Reed to George Washington. My dear General, the great changes that have taken place with you will, I doubt, scarcely will leave you time to read a letter, but as it conveys a piece of good news, I will venture to interrupt you for a few moments. I dare say you have heard how troublesome and dangerous the back inhabitants of North Carolina are growing. General Gage sent some Scotch officers there last summer who, pretending a disgust to the ministerial service, went among their countrymen there and uh, fomented a spirit of disaffection. And when they saw matters sufficiently ripened, they headed a large body of men and were marching down to meet the governor. That'd be Lord Dunmore. However, they were met by Colonel Caswell and totally defeated. Above 30 left dead in the spot and on the spot, and a great number of prisoners and their commander, Mr. McDonald. The whole party is said to have been crushed and disappointed that nothing more is to be apprehended from them. We have no news from Virginia since I wrote you last, no account yet of our fleet, and as no member of Congress expressed any concern on the subject, we begin to suspect they are gone upon some distant enterprise zone. Some conjecture to lay in the way of the East India ships, a few of who would reimburse us at the expense of the war. However, it is all supposition. It has happened, as I expected, that many who were impatient to have Howe driven from Boston are now alarmed with the apprehension of some seat of war being removed from the middle colonies. General Lee is gone off to Virginia, and we hope will be there for some time to meet the troops expected from England. The Congress have at length granted letters of marque, but there are some difficulty in procuring ammunition that I imagine little use will be made of them for at least some time. The Prussian general is made a brigadier in order to Canada, and by late accounts from England, we are led to expect a scheme of sending commissioners will be wholly laid aside. If it should, I think we shall have no reason to regret it, as it does not seem calculated to produce any real benefit. Adieu, my dear sir, and honor and health may ever attend to you. Sincere wish of my dear general, most obedient, affectionate, humble servant, Joseph Reed. Wow, exciting news and some intelligence. That was good. I'm still excited about that video. Oh, Richard, hey man. Hey Richard, if you're watching, did you listen to the video that I played over the air just a couple minutes ago? If not, I will text it to you after the podcast is over, okay? Just let me know. All right, so we got that done. I look for an update on the Dalmatian. Still no further updates. Steve is at home recovering. I can't. Like I told them the day I posted on one of their posts, and I told them I'm losing weight, which for some people it's not a bad thing. All right, so Iran update: Operation Epic Fury. The 48-hour deadline has been paused. I do have an article on that in just a minute when we get done. There were two impacts in Israel, at least two impacts this weekend in Israel. Iran attempted to shoot 2 missiles toward Diego Garcia, and those missiles went beyond the 2,000-mile range that they thought was the limit that Iran had, that they said they had no missiles that can go beyond that range, but these ones did. But they didn't make it to Diego Garcia, which is a good thing. But does that mean we should take the Iranians at any part of their word? And that would probably be no. Never trust the Iranians. The United Kingdom finally agrees that the Hormuz must be open, and Iran is charging a $2 million toll for ships to go around the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is threatening water infrastructure around the world, and Israeli Defense Forces continue to pound Hezbollah. Okay, and then also, before I went on air, 10 o'clock was the latest update I put on there. Brent crude was at $97.17, which is down $9.21 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate is at $89.40, which is down $8.88 a barrel. And the stock market, when I last checked at 10 o'clock Central this morning, which was 2 hours ago, the stock market was up 914 points at 46,491. Okay. That is your RAN update. Those are some really good numbers. Remember, it's only noon. There's still 3 hours left in the trading day. So we'll see where it ends at, right? All right. So that was a text message from a friend of mine. She was excited that Vince mentioned my podcast name. That's, man, that was awesome. So hey, put a chat in the podcast for me. Talk with Rob and Richard. Those guys are awesome people. Rob is my unofficial hall monitor. I got to see if I can get him some moderation rights on here. Okay, so here we go. That's number 5. There we go. I'm going to show you the True Social first and read that, and then I'm going to go back and read the article that I have that goes with that. Okay, this is concerning the pause in the utilities bombing that is going to happen if Iran doesn't listen to us and capitulate. So here's the first one. I am pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had over the past 2 days very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth dialogue, detailed and constructive conversations, which will continue through the week. I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meeting and discussions. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And that was written this morning, all right, at 6:30 a.m. my time, all right? Now, that does not mean if you're a military target, you're going to get the snot beat out of you. So the bombing campaigns continue. The sinking of ships. The president announced a while ago that we've sunk like 150 naval vessels from Iran. They can't have too many more. We just keep bombing them back to the Stone Age, and they got a 5-day reprieve on their electricity plants. So it'd be nice to have a resolution. It'd be nice to see those oil prices continue to drop. So the article I have, some of it has the Truth Social in it, all right? Donald Trump, in all caps, most posts early Monday morning. It is in all caps. Check it out. yelling to the top of his lungs. I am pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had, over the last 2 days, very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East, Trump wrote on Truth Social. Based on the tenor and tone of these depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue through the week, I've instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plant and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. Trump's move followed a threat by Iran to attack Israel's power plants and those supplying U.S. bases across the Gulf region if the U.S. targets Iran's power network. The Post, that'd be the New York Post, no, that's True Social Post, I'm sorry, led to an immediate reaction in oil futures market globally, as we saw what I told y'all, everything like 8 and 9% reduction in the price of oil. Iranian state television is hailing the progress as a victory against Trump. Really? And the U.S. saying U.S. president backs down following Iran's firm warning. Don't negotiate with President Trump, and you're going to see yourself back to not the Bronze Age, but the Stone Age. The United Arab Emirates reported its air defenses were attempting to intercept new incoming Iranian fire Monday afternoon, which is about 8 hours from now. So really it's about 8 o'clock at night in the UAE. Prior to Trump's announcement, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi acknowledged talking by phone with his Turkish counterpart, Hakan Fidan. Turkey has been an intermediary before negotiations between Tehran and Washington. Speaking in Parliament, the Indian Prime Minister Modi on Monday compared the challenges caused by the war of those faced during COVID-19. Okay, we just need to know stuff about the United States and Iran. So, good news, right? Now we need to do is Iran to open up the Strait of Hormuz and say, we're done and we promise we'll never have a nuclear weapon and here's all of our equipment, all right? We will see how well that progresses. And all these naysayers saying that we are capitulating in front of the Iranians. Just ask the Iranian leaders. Oh wow, they're dead. And they're looking for their 72 virgins, and it ain't working. All right. The best decision the remaining Iranian leadership are tertiary, or let's see, what terms in baseball? You got the big game, right? That would be the original Iranians, right? Then you have AAA, and you have AA, and you have instructional league. We're down to little league level. That's what's left of the Iranian leadership. These guys need to say, hey, we're done. Let's salvage some part of an army that we actually have left and change regime. That's the only way they're going to get out of this one alive. Or we're going to go to T-ball level baseball, right? That's a good analogy, man. All right, so next. If y'all have any comments on that, chime in, guys. We got people online watching live, but this is serious matter here. We're expending large amounts of American munitions on top of Iran, just so they will never, like the president said this morning, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And I fully agree with that. 47 years we've been dealing with this, and they've been thumbing their nose. We've had Biden, we have had Obama, both capitulating to the Iranians and giving them what they want to their every desire. We gave them pallets full of cash during the Obama administration. I don't know why, right? That's stupid. But we did it. We need to we need to put our foot down and just keep up the pressure. Just keep dropping those bombs on. And if you didn't realize, but I don't know, I need to move on. Thanks a lot, Rob, for the comment. So if you didn't read on the Fox News stuff that they got a live update on there, I think it was HIMARS. They were firing HIMARS, I guess, from Iraq all the way into Iran. And the HIMARS is the multiple launch rocket system we have in the Army. And they were doing surface-to-surface missile launches from Army field artillery systems. And the first time I think they've been used in combat. Awesome. That's really good. It's good to be on the shooting end of it and not on the business end of it. Okay. Never wanted to be on the business end of a missile. Okay, so back here to the United States. Air Canada. Yeah. Okay. So Air Canada Express regional jet struck a Port Authority vehicle on the ground Sunday night. Okay. Just around midnight, killing 2 pilots and forcing the airport to close. And I just looked a while ago, the airport is still closed. The CRJ 900 plane, which was arriving from Montreal, struck a vehicle about 24 miles an hour shortly before midnight, according to flight tracking website, Flight Radar 24. The 2 pilots were killed in the incident. Port Authority Executive Director Catherine Garcia said at a news briefing more than 40 passengers, crew members, and aircraft rescue firefighting, that would be the fire engine the jet struck, were all transported to the hospital. At this time, we understand that 32 people have been released, but there are also serious injuries, Garcia said. Sadly, the 2 pilots confirmed deceased, and notification are being made to Air Canada's care team at this time. Wow, that's tragic. That is tragic. The jet is operated by Jazz Aviation, Air Canada's regional partner. Air Canada and Jazz confirmed that the incident to Fox News. Flight 8646 was en route to LaGuardia from Montreal. Jazz Aviation said in a statement to Fox News, the preliminary passenger list indicates it was carrying 72 passengers and 4 crew members. Although this is subject to confirmation, the incident occurred at approximately 11:47 p.m. on March 22nd. That would be Eastern time. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration issued a ground stop for all planes at the airport, saying there was an emergency without offering specific details. The airport is expected to close until 2 p.m. Monday, which is an hour and a half from now. LaGuardia's website showed arriving planes have been diverted to other airports or returned to where they took off from. Port Authority confirmed that the jet collided with a Port Authority aircraft rescue fighting vehicle. The Port Authority spokesperson said at approximately 11:40 p.m. on Sunday, a Jazz Aviation flight operating on behalf of Air Canada was involved in an incident on runway 4 at LaGuardia Airport in which the aircraft struck a Port Authority aircraft rescue fighting vehicle, a fire engine, that was responding to a separate incident. Emergency response protocols were immediately activated. The Port Authority Police Department is on the scene with the agency's chairman and executive director. The airport is currently closed to facilitate the response allowed through a thorough investigation. That is tragic. And later on, they released air traffic control conversations, and one of the air traffic controllers said he messed up. It was all on tape. Everybody heard it. So expect a lot of stuff. There was the president was on TV just a couple minutes ago, and at the same time they had a press conference with the LaGuardia airport. Okay, keep those pilots' family in your prayers and pray for the injuries on the passengers. All right. Sometime this afternoon, we hold on, spam call. Sometime this afternoon, we should have a confirmed new secretary of the U.S. government. That would be Markwayne Mullin. He had a test vote in the Senate last night because they were actually working, because they've been doing the debates for the Save America Act, which we will get to also. Markwayne Mullin survived the key test vote Sunday on his way to becoming the next Homeland Security chief or secretary, cabinet secretary. Wayne, who was tapped by President Trump to be the next Homeland Security secretary, still has one more vote to go, and likely won't be confirmed till Monday evening, right? There was something that came out yesterday. It might have been about 9:30 this morning, but it's going to be this evening. Should he survive the final confirmation vote, he will replace Secretary Kristi Noem. The vote last night was 54-37, largely among party line. Is a party line vote, except for Martin Heinrich and John Fetterman. They're both Democrats. They voted on the side of the Republicans. Now, if you look at that, 54-37, that is 91. How many senators are there in the United States Senate? There's 100. That means almost 10% of the United States Senate didn't even vote last night on this bill to make him, well, the test vote still, but they should all be working. I mean, that's what we pay them, $176,000 a year is to vote. That's all they have to do. Kiss babies, flip pancakes, and vote. In his case, vote yes. If you're watching, chime in on the chat. Say something about if you're disgusted that 9 U.S. senators didn't even bother to vote. That's ridiculous. And I don't care if it's Sunday night or Friday morning. I don't care. They're here to work for us. So if and Rand Paul voted as a Democrat in this one too. So if you did not know about Senator Markwayne Mullin, if he is confirmed to the United States Senate in the United States Senate as the next Homeland Security Secretary, he will be the very first person from Oklahoma ever to be appointed to the president's cabinet. First one ever. Never has there ever been someone from Oklahoma been in the cabinet of the president of the United States. In the days of DEI and all this stuff, the first woman, the first black, the first Hispanic, the first Native American, and you hear it over and over and over again, right? Why is it I'm the one that had to bring up the fact that Markwayne Mullin will be the first person from Oklahoma that's ever been part of a presidential cabinet? He earned it. He earned it. I mean, he's a businessman and MMA fighter. He almost demonstrated that in a Senate hearing one time. But, he's totally worth it. If you're proud that I don't have no Oklahoma flags in my chat, Yeah, my hypocrisy only goes so far. Now, that's a joke. Because if you know me, I'm married to an Okie. So she normally doesn't listen to podcasts, so I'm probably lucky on that matter right there. But yeah, so Markwayne Mullin should be confirmed this evening. It'll probably be on my podcast first thing in the morning, and like I said, he'll be the first Okie to ever serve in the cabinet for the president. And yes, I said Okie because I'm married one, so that gives me the right. If you're proud that Senator Mullin is going to be in the cabinet, put an American flag in the chat for me. That would be great. I'll even do it too because I think it's awesome because he's a very good senator. There we go. There's mine. All right, let's get 10 more. We got 10 live viewers right now. Come on. Follow my lead. That's the mark of a leader. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is ICE. ICE, baby. All right. So I have a True Social for this, and then I have an article I'm going to go over. All right. Any other? There we go. We have an American flag. Richard from Copper's Cove. Woohoo! Proud to be an American. There we go. Even though we have Okies, right, guys? All right. So here we go with the True Social about ICE. The radical left Democrats have hurt so many people in their vicious and uncaring ways. What they have done to our Department of Homeland Security, our fantastic TSA officers, and most importantly, the great people of our country, is an absolute disgrace. If the Democrats do not allow for just and proper security at our airports and elsewhere through our country, ICE will do the job far better than they ever done before. The fascist Democrats will never protect America, but the Republicans will. Just like radical left allowed millions of criminals to pour into our country through their ridiculous and dangerous open border policy, the Republicans closed it all down, and we now have the strongest border in American history. Likewise, I look forward to moving ICE in on Monday and having already told them, get ready, no more waiting, no more games. President Donald J. Trump. All right, so that's the next one, right? Immigration ICE agents will be assisting TSA agents at airports across the country on Monday. The president said it's already started happening. The movement comes as Trump and Republicans battle with Democrats over funding over DHS. TSA agents across the country have gone more than a month without a paycheck as Democrats hold up funding in hopes of securing immigration reforms. On Monday, ICE will be going to airports to help our wonderful TSA agents, these ones aren't in all caps, who have stayed on the job despite the fact that radical left Democrats who are only focused on protecting hardline criminals who have entered our country illegally are endangering the USA by holding back money that has long ago agreed to and signed with sealed contracts and all. But watch, no matter how great a job ICE does, the lunatics leading the incompetent Dems will be highly critical of their work. They will do a fantastic job. The great Tom Homan is in charge. Trump first threatened to deploy ICE to airports Saturday, demanding that Democrats sign an agreement to fund DHS. The TSA officers are considered essential employees and are required to report to work even during a shutdown, though pay can be delayed. Airports across the country have reported huge numbers of employees calling out sick or not showing up for work, and more than 600 have already quit. early Saturday, Elon Musk offered to pay the salaries of TSA personnel. The thing is, can he legally do it? That's the only thing. I would like to offer the pay of the salaries of TSA personnel during this funding impasse, who is negatively affecting the lives of so many Americans at airports throughout the country. And major airports are experiencing delays. So, does anyone have any idea what we should do with this besides pass the bill and reopen the government? Because the Democrats need to understand they're not going to win this fight, and it's their fault that it's continuing. I mean, do y'all agree with what the president's doing? Flat out. Wow. Where is everybody? Hold on just a second. I'm going to refresh my page here. I'm going to lose all my chat. Whoa. Oh, there we go. Oh, man, I lost all my chat there for a second. All right, so I'm still on. All right. Where's my pencil? There we go. There. Just a second here. Come on. There we go. All right. So Robert Mueller, he died on Friday. The president put a yep, I'm live. All right. Here's the president's True Social, which I think everybody in the country's pretty much seen because it went ballistic, right? Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. President Donald J. Trump. Okay? You can't fault him. He really shouldn't have said that, but you can't fault him that he did because the way he was treated, they forced him to have this special counsel, and Robert Mueller never liked the president ever. He was an FBI director for 13 years. You sound like slow motion reading that. Because, okay, Richard, the reason why is my OBS disconnected and then reconnected in the middle of that. So I apologize, okay? But if you didn't get it, it's rumbled. Hold on, just. There we go. Okay, that's what I was trying to put out and just use the keyword studio. All right. So former FBI director Robert S. Mueller. I didn't know I can talk in slow motion, but when technology fails you, I guess it does happen. With deep sadness, we are sharing that the news that Bob passed away. Mueller served as this is from the Epoch Times. Mueller served as FBI director from September 2001 to September 2013. And most recently, most recently, Mueller served as special counsel in charge of investigating alleged ties between President Trump in 2016 and Russia. Mueller in 2019 reached a conclusion in his final report in his investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential campaign that neither Trump nor any member of his campaign colluded with Russia. The investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government. The final report said they spent $25 million, did 3,000 subpoenas, and executed 500 search warrants, and interviewed 500 witnesses, including almost 80 before a grand jury in the investigation, and they said nothing happened. My question is, why didn't anything happen to Hillary Clinton? They spent all that money, did all the investigations, and we all know now that it all started with the Hillary Clinton campaign. So, what gives? Do people just hate conservatives that much? And now they're all up in arms? They're all up in arms because we are now in the process of investigating all that and trying to bring some of them to justice that the statute of limitations have not already expired. And then, and then people are in an uproar because he didn't pay his respects to a crooked FBI director like Mueller was, because he had to be. How many lives were ruined by him? All right? How many lives were ruined? Personally, I like Kash Patel. I think he's doing a dynamite job as the FBI director right now. If you agree that Kash Patel is a very good FBI director, put something in the chat. Give me some satisfaction that I'm saying that. The next one is a SAVE Act to be extra 3. So there. Okay, I have another True Social I'm going to read. Then I got an article about the Save America Act. All right? Ready, set, let's go. All right. I don't think we should make any deal with the crazy, country-destroying, radical left Democrats unless and until they vote with Republicans to pass the Save America Act. It is far more important than anything else that we're going to do in the Senate, and that includes giving these same terrible people, the Dems, who are to blame for this mess, a $5 billion cut in ICE funding, a deal which, even when disguised as something else, is unacceptable to me and the American people, unless it includes their voter approval ID with picture, citizenship to vote, no mail-in balloting with exceptions, all paper ballots, no men and women's sports, no transgender mutilization of our precious children. Put it all together, and also let Leader Thune clearly identify those few Republicans that are voting against America. They will never be elected again. In other words, lump everything together as one and vote. Kill the filibuster and stay in D.C. for Easter if necessary. Make America great again, President DJT. And that's self-explanatory. But I got this article, and it's from the Punch Bowl AM News, okay? And it's not the most conservative news out there, but, okay, so I'm going to give you a rundown of what they said about this deal with the president and Thune, right? Let's get some comments going in the chat, please. All right. News: with the DHS shutdown in the 37th day, Senate Majority Leader John Thune approached Trump with a new proposal on Sunday at the urging of his Senate Republican colleagues and even some White House aides. Thune told Trump that the Republicans would support funding all of DHS except ICE, the agency at the center of the bitter partisan dispute over Trump's immigration crackdown, according to senators and aides. ICE funding could be handled later in a party line reconciliation bill. Democrats would accept that offer. The South Dakota Republican informed the president Democrats wouldn't get some of their chief demands banning masks for federal agents, or requiring judicial warrants if reconciliation were used. Plus, I don't trust Democrats in the first place. Plus, TSA agents would get their paychecks and the security line madness at airports would end. But Trump said no, according to multiple sources. The president says Republicans to stay in D.C. and keep fighting with Democrats over DHS funding and the Save America Act, the GOP's voter ID and proof of citizenship bill. Not only that, Trump warned that he publicly slammed Senate Republicans if they left town for the upcoming recess. Trump said also he'd invite the GOP senators and their families for Easter dinner at the White House, and some Republicans took that as a threat, not as a reward. Maybe y'all need to go look for a new line of work. In a Sunday night Truth Social post, the president made clear his position. I don't think we should deal with any crazy, country-destroying, radical left Democrats unless and until they vote with Republicans to pass the Save America Act. And then Trump added, kill the filibuster and stay in D.C. for Easter. If necessary, make America great again. The Trump-Thune exchange shows how differently Republicans view the growing crisis over DHS, especially the chaos at many of America's airports. Trump has ordered ICE agents to deploy at airports starting today, which has already started happening, and TSA absences have meant growing hours-long security delays at some of the nation's busiest airports. A lot of Republicans don't like the idea of ICE agents patrolling airports, although they don't complain in public. Even ICE officials were caught by surprise by Trump's Saturday night order. Some Democrats are probably giddy over the prospect, believing it would cause even more problems. The real key here is that Trump believes he and Republicans are winning the DHS battle, while a lot of GOP lawmakers aren't sure of that case. It's not ICE's mission to be there, Lisa Murkowski. She's one of those fake Republicans. Told reporters on Sunday, warning about additional tension at already tense airports. Murkowski wants DHS funding to be passed right now. And then another Republican who didn't want to be named said, it's a mess. No one is quite sure where it's going. And then Susan Collins, she's a make-believe Republican who has been in the middle of a bipartisan DHS funding talks, acknowledged that Republicans have considered everything but ICE option to break the logjam. It's already being discussed, Collins said. But Collins raised the issue of how Homeland Security investigations, that's called HSI, an ICE unit that handles child trafficking cases and other high priority matters, won't get funded. Senate Republicans could pose cutting out only the money from removal operations instead of funding the rest of ICE and DHS. That's a non-starter for the president. Fund it or else. The Republicans do not need to be engaging with the Democrats to water down the immigration services in our country. We had 4 years of nonstop, millions of people entering our country illegally, hundreds of thousands of them illegally not documented. Okay, those are called getaways. We have no earthly idea. We've already had 4 or 5 terrorist attacks in the last month or so. We need to get a grasp and get these people out of our country. Flat out. Flat out. All right? Man, what are we? We're at 12:52. Pass the Save America Act or else. All right? You know, regardless of which Republican we elect in the state of Texas, both of them fully support the Save America Act. So we're not losing on our part. All right. So no new chatters yet. Come on, guys. Come on. That's all you have to do. Or put an American flag in the chat. All right. Here we go. Next one. Just talked about that one. Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries, you know, the guy that likes to talk with his hands, like they teach you not to do when you're in the Army or any branch of service. Shows a lack of professionalism when you talk with your hands. So he got mad at the president this weekend and said he fired back at President Trump Sunday after the commander-in-chief argued the Democrat Party is now the country's greatest enemy. And then he said, Donald Trump should keep his reckless mouth shut before he gets someone killed. Jeffries said in an interview with CNN's State of the Union when they asked Trump Sunday morning about the post. In the post, the president asserted that Democrats are a greater foe than Iran now that the Islamic regime has been crippled by Operation Epic Fury. Now, with the death of Iran, the greatest enemy America has is the radical left, highly incompetent Democrat Party, Trump wrote. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Yeah, you're right. The chatter here says, same junk, different day. That's right. That is right. Now, I think I mentioned some of this morning. Well, when it came to he's talking about it might get someone killed. How many times has the Democrats bludgeoned the president over and over again in the newspapers, on social media, on cable TV, everywhere? Movie stars, the Grammys, the Oscars, and over and over again, they've already attempted under the life of the president once. There was another attempt that they didn't get a shot off, right? There's been numerous overall threats. You have cabinet members that have to live on military bases and deprive military officers and NCOs and enlistment quarters to be able to live on because we have to house cabinet secretaries and their assistants because the numerous death threats that keep coming over and over again on their lives. We have a Supreme Court Justice, Brett Kavanaugh, that almost had an attempt on his life a couple of years ago. It just keeps going on and on. And he wants to tell our president that he has to watch his mouth because they might get someone killed. How about if Hakeem Jeffries and Chucky Schumer look in a mirror and say that to themselves? Because it's the rhetoric that's coming from the far left, Chucky Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, that are putting the lives of Republicans at risk over and over again. We have podcasters that can't even put their names out in the open, their addresses where they live at, because under the threat that people come out and take shots at them after a great podcaster and get out the vote person that died in September last year, Charlie Kirk. It happens over and over and over again. The Democrats have no place to go. All they want to do is threaten the lives of conservatives and federal employees. Why do you think the ICE employees have to put masks on when they're going to do their job? Because these stupid rioters and protesters that follow them everywhere, doxing them on open databases over and over and over again. So these guys can't go home because their kids and their spouses are at risk because they know who they are. They got to move to a location under an assumed name or something to protect the lives of them and their loved ones. Unacceptable. Hakeem Jeffries, you can stick your little statement where the sun don't shine, all right? Because I don't care. I really, really don't care about a single thing you say at all. That's my view of the whole thing. Give me some comments. Man, I tell you. I want to talk about James Comey. He can take a flying leap. He needs to be in jail. All right. So the last one I'm going to get around to before I have to go into premium is, and I think I needed to talk about this, is California Sheriff Chad Bianco. He is running for the Republicans in the state of California for governor. He and Steve Hilton are the Republicans. And both of them are in first and second place right now in polls going up into, I think, June's primary, I think it is. Well, Mr. Bianco, Sheriff Bianco, sees 650 ballots this weekend. So it says here, California Sheriff and top Republican candidate for governor sees 650,000 votes from the state's November elections this weekend. Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco launched an investigation into the state's November 2025 special election on Prop 50 after a third-party organization, the Riverside Election Integrity Team, claimed it found roughly 45,000 excess votes. California election officials have dismissed the team's finding, but Bianco said his office will conduct another count. This investigation is simple. Physically count the ballots that compare that result with the total votes recorded, Bianco told reporters at a Friday night conference. Prop 50 was a key proposal seeking to reform California's congressional districts. It was designed to favor Democrats in response to a similar effort by the Republicans in Texas. Secretary of State Shirley Weber argued Bianco has no authority to carry out a recount. The Riverside County Sheriff's Office the Riverside County Sheriff's Office has taken actions based on allegations that lack credible evidence and risk undermining the public confidence in our elections. The sheriff's assertion that his deputies know how to count is admirable. The fact remains that he and his deputies are not election officials, and they do not have experience in election administration. All they're doing is counting the ballots. They're not like they're processing them. Election results official Art Tinico rejected Riverside Integrity Team's findings earlier this month, saying the group had misinterpreted how votes are counted on election day. One ballot, yes. One ballot, yes. One ballot, no. One ballot, yes. It's too easy, right? Because that was the only thing on the referendum. Yes or no. That's all. Even us guys from Copper's Cove can actually interpret that. Tanico told county supervisors earlier this year that the initial intake logs by poll workers are meant to be estimates rather than exact tallies on how many votes were cast. Really, an estimate? One person walked through the door, there's the voter. Another person walked through the door, that's 2 voters. Another one walk in, that's 3. That's too easy. It shouldn't be an estimate. It should be an exact number. If 100 people walk through the door, you have 100 voters, and it should be 100 ballots. That's all. That's all. The election integrity team maintains their math is correct. However, it was this disagreement that led Bianco to open an investigation on his own. Bianco accused the California Attorney General Bob Bonta, a Democrat, of intervening in the investigation. Bonta, however, says his office only sought to learn the basics of the probe. We have attempted to work cooperatively with the Sheriff's Department in order to better understand the basis of their investigation, including by reviewing the warrants themselves, by requesting the Sheriff's complete investigative file. Bonta's office told Fox News Digital, we have made requests pursuant to the AG's supervisory authority over the county sheriffs. During this time, the sheriff has delayed, stonewalled, and otherwise refused to work with us in good faith. To date, the sheriff, Okay. Bianco has also clashed with social media with Congressman Eric Swalwell. That's Fang Fang Bang Bang himself, who is running for the California governor as well. He's in third place behind Bianco. Bianco said Friday that his office has received multiple letters from Bonta ordering him to cease the investigation. According to the Desert Sun, Bonta and Weber did not immediately comment with Fox News. So I would like to see an end result of this. So this integrity team said 45,000 more people voted than that were counted in the tally. That is a lot of people. A lot of people. All right. Chad. Where are we at? We're at 104. All right. So I didn't get to everything I wanted to talk to today. One thing I did want to mention was in terms of police, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 this morning, or hold on. Today. Oh my goodness, this was breaking. I should have led with this. The Supreme Court on Monday ruled that a Vermont State Police sergeant is entitled to quantified immunity in a lawsuit brought by a protester who said she was injured when an officer used a wrist lock to remove her from a sit-in at the state capitol. In a per curiam opinion unsigned, the court reversed Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Zorn versus Linton, holding the pre-existing precedent did not clearly establish that Sergeant Jacob Zorn's specific conduct violated the Constitution. The Second Circuit Court held that Zorn was not entitled to quantified immunity. The ruling read, "We reverse." The justices said officers are generally shielded from civil liability unless prior case law put the unlawfulness of their actions beyond debate. So a police officer actually won a lawsuit against a protester. She's lucky that he didn't put a bar hammerlock takedown on her and slam her face first into the ground. He just put a wrist lock on her and drug her out. He didn't break anything. Man, wow. Congratulations, Sergeant Zorn. You're a free man. You're exonerated. Too bad they had to go to the United States Supreme Court. Matter of fact, what year did that take place? 2015. That was 11 years ago that the incident took place in. Wow. And it was a 6-3 ruling, six conservatives, 3 liberals. Wow. All right. So we are at 107. 1 hour and 7 minutes. I guess I got through most of this, right? We'll go on. We're going to go to premium for a little bit, okay? What do I got? I got 10 people on still. Cool. All right. Let's go with this. Don't forget, if you're watching and you are in the Coppers Cove region, tomorrow night, or if you're in Coryell County, tomorrow night we have a county executive committee meeting with the Coryell County Republican Party at 6 p.m. at Trinity Worship Center. All the precinct chairs are supposed to be there. The county chair, Nora Mitchell, is going to be there. It's our monthly meeting, and we're getting ready for our precinct and county conventions. And that will be on Saturday afternoon at 12 in the same location at Trinity Worship Center, 1802 Martin Luther King. Okay, y'all are invited to come. All right, so I'm going to transition to Rumble Premium, and we're going to go over a few things there. All right, I got to get a chance to do that. All right, so I'm transitioning over. All y'all non-premium members, remember, look into live chat, rumble.com/premium, and you can listen when we're on premium. All right, so I'll catch y'all tomorrow morning at 6:30 on the morning brief, and then at 12 o'clock on the JP8 report. So I'll talk to y'all later. All right, so I should be hanging out on